welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. You're not on any rights to anything you may hear coming out of this mouth. But yes, welcome back, y'all. If you were rocking with us about 10 minutes ago, we are continuing our episode of Wealth for Generations, Raising Teens in 2025. We are accompanied here with Miss Jessica Marrero, mother of four, and Miss Leonie also. Y'all clap out there. Y'all clap out there because I can't. There's buttons and stuff, but there's stuff going on and behind the scenes. But anyways, we were getting into raising teens. Raising teens into women in 2025. Getting real insight from real moms. All right. You guys ready to get back into it?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay. So, sorry, lost my place for a second. Next question we got right now is, what is one mom myth or Instagram parenting aesthetic that's totally fake to you?
Oh my God. Instagram, like social media, like the perfectness of
The
it.
perfectness,
Whoa, because
yeah.
look, no,
Nothing's perfect. Life is messy.
it's fuck. Sometimes my house is like messy. It's never dirty, but messy. Kids like around the house doing their little thing, but it's
they destroy the house every single day. Like no one's living in a perfect white house. When I see people that have young children and all their furniture and everything is white, I'm just like, what? Like, do you let your kids be kids and live actually? Because kids are gonna spill shit. They're gonna wipe their boogers on your couch.
Yeah.
They're gonna have accidents. Like,
it happens.
no.
There's something out of order.
Yeah. Also, I really, when I see people portraying everything being perfect, I'm just like, that's not real.
No,
that's
not real life.
Unobtainable. And
Not
if you're
genuine.
actually living a life that you feel is completely perfect to that extent of like portraying it that way on social media, are you even living a life?
Right.
Like,
it's not genuine.
Is it joyful in your house? Like, can your kids jump around and have fun and like have their friends over? Like, come in the house dirty? Like, yeah. Do we love that? No, but it's part of life. So, yeah. It's like, I want my kids to be able to feel comfortable in their home. And if you're trying to portray your life that it's so perfect, anybody that's a mom knows that shit is not real.
Like they're cleaning up just for
the video.
It's like, no, be genuine.
I've also seen things that are like, oh, I lived as my mom was always posting on social media, and like this was actually what my life was really like, and they show behind the scenes, and they're like being verbally abused and sexually abused and all these things, and you're just like, holy shit. Like,
what I've seen a trend on social media is like, oh, my house is so dirty, I have all these kids, and I'm like, yo, like this is not no, like this is not it. This is like these houses I've seen are like disgusting, right? Like, and it's like, no, this is not
that's
normal.
not normal either.
It's like, let's not normalize this, because no, it's like it's messy. You clean it up, it gets messy again, but that constant like put on mess after mess, like no, that's
I think that there's a happy balance as far as that goes, because your house has to be lived in because it is lived in.
Yeah.
But that's what chore day is for, right? That's why we clean the bathroom once a week and clean the kitchen every night and
put on that music.
Yeah.
Everybody cleaning, everybody has a job. Let's get it done. Yeah.
Laundry day and all the things, right? So life is all about balance, and there's going to be days where you come home and you're like, is this my fucking house? And then there are days where you're going to come home and you're like, damn, I'm a good mom, right? My house looks good and I have 4 kids. Like, it just is what it is sometimes. But yeah, social media can be a blessing and a curse, just like anything
in life, right?
Anything in life, and especially electronics, because like we give up a certain amount of our freedoms to have our phones, but you know, you just gotta make it work for you, I guess. You know, there are times where I'm trying to teach Javante a lesson and he doesn't want to hear it, and then videos start popping up about it, and I'm like, oh, watch this video, and then all of a sudden he's like,
into it,
oh yeah, we need to do that. I'm like, thank God for social media.
I know, right?
So you guys feel like there is one mom standard out there right now that you've chosen just to completely ignore?
No, I wouldn't say that. No, every kid is different.
Everybody's different. There's
I don't know if there is there a mom standard?
What is that?
I don't know. I guess I'm not on social media enough to know that.
So how do you guys recharge? What does a self-care day really look like for you?
The gym. Nature. I mean, like, I was gonna say nature. So the hiking and like being out, like even if I walk the dog, like just being outside, it helps me recharge a lot because that's where I do a lot of my thinking and like reflecting. So for sure, outside, I love outside. Even sitting in the backyard, you know, like
of course,
getting that sunlight. Oh my gosh,
putting your feet in the grass and having the sun on you. Even for me, also creating. Like there are days where I'll spend like 2-3 days. I'll be up until like 4 a.m. and I'll still be up at 7 to get the day going. And I'm tired and I could take a nap, but no, I'm like sitting at my table creating jewelry stuff. Like, so creating is a big thing for me as far as like outlet goes. Yeah, and it is recharging because when I make a bunch of beautiful jewelry and I look at it, I'm like, I want to keep all of this stuff.
Like I did that.
Can I keep everything? Yeah.
And I think like self-care looks different for everybody, right? Like, you know, you gotta find what fits for you, you know.
Yeah. And I think too, I mean, I don't know how to say this gently, but I think that people put so much weight on mental health and it has to be this thing that just takes over your life. Like I don't know how to say this the way that I'm thinking of it, but like, I don't think that just because you had a bad childhood or you experienced some type of trauma, that should be what your whole life is about, you know? So for me, healing, recharging, doing the things that make you happy, you know,
having your time.
Yeah, just having your time the way that you need it to be. And mental health, it doesn't have to be a whole thing. It can just be finding that little bit of joy in your life every day. Yeah. Instead of it being like your only focus. If that makes sense.
No, I get it. Yeah, no, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Just finding your mental health, you know, making sure you're good. Because you're not always gonna be good, you know, like
the day. It's gonna be 100%,
yeah. So earlier we talked about how open you guys are with your daughters, and they've definitely had moments of being able to roast you, but with good efficiency.
So they better be good at it. I'll say if it's not.
We're the mamas, so they learn from us.
So has either one of your daughters ever called you out on not practicing what you preach?
Oh my God, all the time.
Yep.
So with Shael, it's because she's the oldest and she saw me parenting, you know, like the way I did. And then, you know, she'll see the younger ones. She's like, Mom, are you gonna put up with that?
Yeah, just calling you out on it. With Alyssa, I would say more so, you know, with sleep. She's always calling me out on my sleep because I'm still a night owl, regardless of the fact that I know that it's terrible to be up super late at night and not getting your full 6 to 8 hours of sleep. I probably thrive more on like 3 to 5, which isn't good. But that's what she'll call me out on the most. She'll be like, Mom, go to bed. Why are you still up?
I'm like, my gosh. I know, right?
She's like, you have to be up early. What are you doing? I'm like, I know. So yeah, she calls me out when she needs to. And the cool thing is like that I take it into consideration because I trust her judgment because she's so awesome that I don't feel like insulted by it.
Oh no, never, right? Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Looking out for the best interest.
Yeah. Kids should be spoken to. Not kids shouldn't be heard.
Seen, not heard. Oh god.
Whatever that saying is.
So do you feel like the school system is helping raise women or setting them up for
failure? No comment?
No comment. Like what?
Pass on
no, they're definitely, I don't think that they're focused on raising anybody other than sheeple.
That No, I was gonna say I had a situation where a girl was, she let the school tell it, she likes your son, like they're trying to brush off her behavior because she likes it, and I'm like, she likes him, and I'm like, that is not okay. Whether you like somebody, like the lesson is like you don't treat people like that.
Yeah.
Whatever age it is. So I'm very big on like just talking to my kids and not letting the school like teach them
anything. So, like you're there because you have to be, but other than that, no.
Yeah.
So even with Alyssa, she started working when she was 16. She's in sports, she's in music, she sings, like she does everything. So I'm not really tough on her when she doesn't go to school.
Oh no,
she's maintaining her grades, and like the school at one point last year, not this year, but last year, contacted me and they were like, your daughter's missing a lot of school, and I'm like, yeah, she's doing a lot. Like, I'm gonna have her back.
Yeah,
because if she was failing,
different story.
It would be a different story. But she has a 4.28 GPA. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna make my daughter feel bad for missing more days of school than the average student, because she's working hard, she's maintaining her grades. Yep. She has a dean's scholarship to college. Like,
I think it's just to follow them. Like
leave her alone. She's tired. Seriously. She's tired. And I know that a lot of parents would agree with that, with being like, no, you need to teach your kids to do. And I was like, okay, but my daughter already knows who she is. I don't have to ever really worry about her choices. Like, she does what she needs to do. So,
yeah.
The school, Elijah, I'm sure you already know how I feel about public education. And the only reason that I didn't pull Alyssa out is because she was already thriving. She knows how to make it work for her, and she also knows what she needs to do outside of that.
Yeah.
So, but Javante's homeschooled, thank God, because, the public education system's not what it needs to be.
Same thing with Shayo. They had contacted me this year, and they're like, "Oh, you're picking her up early a lot. Like, she's missing like valuable time." And I'm like, "Well, what are her grades? Like, she's thriving. Like, she's doing her thing. Like." And I will say, I have come across like a lot of, not a lot, but teachers who help, like obviously, right, who are great educators or great role models that have been, that we've come across. So I do appreciate that. But like you said, the school,
for the most part,
like bullshit.
Yeah, and that's, you just have to know. Yeah, you just have to know. From kid to kid, it's going to be different. And with her, I'm not worried about the school molding her to be the person that she is, because she's too strong-minded for that. But I don't love the public education system. I understand it. I understand the need for it, because the system that we have to live in.
Yeah.
Not everybody has the ability to make those choices, to be more free.
Yeah.
Mentally, financially, people might look at me and judge me and be like, oh, well, you don't have a job. You're almost 50 and you don't have a job. And I'm like, I don't really care what you think.
Yeah.
We do what we need to do to make our life work. And I'd rather enjoy every single day that I'm on this earth than to just work.
Yeah.
In a system that I don't agree with.
So speaking about the system and stuff like that, and kind of technically getting out of it, I guess. Your daughter comes home and says she wants to be an influencer instead of going to college. How do you respond?
Okay.
I know.
You know
Are
what?
you gonna work hard?
It.
Yeah, try. Do what you gotta do to make
it.
If
you can make money doing what you love, fucking do it.
Yeah,
do it. Do it.
Listen. I have a degree because like my dad wanted me to. I don't use it. It was a lot of money and just a lot of time. So whatever my kids, again, I'm going to support them. Like, give them pros, cons, whatever they need to do. I'm just gonna nurture and for them to grow up into who they need to be.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you want the best for your children. You don't want to see them struggle. Something that I've always been open with my children is like, when I was bartending, okay, I know a lot of people might not think of that as a career, but I was making $100,000 a year as a bartender working 4 nights a week. I didn't have to pay for shit as far as an education goes. I looked into going to school because I was like, I need to do something better with my life. Like, I can't be a bartender forever. And I looked into going to school, and guess what? I was going to pay tens of thousands of dollars to take a huge pay cut. Why would I do that? Like, that didn't make sense to me. I'm like, I'm going to have to still work because I still have to support my family while I'm going to school. I'm going to take on debt, and I'm going to come out making less than half of what I'm making a year, having fun as a bartender 4 nights a week. Like, that make it make sense to me, So, but what I did tell my kids, I was like, I didn't have the path of going to school and having a job where I could be off nights and weekends, and I didn't get paid vacations and all of that. And luckily, I was able to afford you guys a good life. But you have to decide what's best for you.
Yeah.
Do you want to be able to just go to work, clock in, do the tasks at hand, clock out and leave, and then go about your day for the rest of the day however you want and have your weekends off? Or do you want more freedom, do the things that bring you joy all day? It's really just about what
works for you.
No judgment, really, but I know what I don't want. So, when you talk openly with your kids, like, yes, I did bartend and I sacrificed my nights and weekends from you guys. And this was the pros and cons of what I chose to do. And this is what the money allotted us. But, we didn't have X, Y, and Z because I did this, and just openly talking and letting them see the choices that they have, and whatever
limitless,
they
like what are they
do. Sometimes they just have to learn the hard way.
That's what I was gonna say. That's always, everything is trial and error. They just try. If it doesn't work out,
as a kid say, you guys keep that same energy when they come home and they're like, "Hey, I want to do an OnlyFans."
Oh, hell no.
Well, does that have to be only sexual?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
not technically.
No, it doesn't.
If they're adults and they want to do OnlyFans, well, then that's their business. I'm not going to accidentally log on to OnlyFans and see my kids naked, If that's what you want to do and it brings you joy and you're safe, do whatever, like literally do whatever the fuck you want to do. Do whatever makes you happy.
No, true, right? 'Cause
it's not my life.
Yeah.
It's your life. You have to live with your choices. So I can set you up in the sense of like, make good choices for yourself, be a good citizen, care about the earth, be a kind person. Like, I can set you up in those manners, but like, as far as what you're going to actually do with your life, it's
not your choice.
It's your choice. I don't have to live your life. I'll be in the ground when you're still living your life. So if OnlyFans makes you money and you're happy with doing that,
none of my business.
I don't care.
No.
Like, I don't care if you judge me for that or not. It's
no, well, like you said, it doesn't always have to be sexual. And like, even if it was,
if you're an adult and it's sexual, it's still your choice.
None of my business.
I'm not logging into your page to see what you're doing. Like, that's your business. Yeah.
So how do you guys feel about the trust situation with your daughters and their phones? Sorry. Do you think it's okay for parents or mothers to go into the daughter's phones?
If I didn't feel like I could trust my daughter and I had to go into her phone, then that's its own topic. But
Yeah.
I've never felt like I had to go through Alyssa's phone.
I very much trust Shael. So
yeah.
I mean, there are times where I do occasionally. Not I mean, not so much anymore, but like where I felt like yeah, like, oh, let me just check, because people are you know, like, again, other people's kids, like, you don't know.
Yeah.
But
with Dan, with my oldest, when his friends were very much highs and lows, and it was just like a different vibe where I was a little bit more worried about who he was hanging out with, so I was more trying to be invested in like knowing his friends. And I did go through his phone once, and when I did, I found shit, and I was like, okay, you know, and we addressed it. But I only did it that one time, and we addressed it, and then I saw changes in him, and it was positive, and then I didn't feel like I had to do that anymore, because I feel like as parents, just because we have the ability to cross those boundaries, we shouldn't necessarily do it unless we see the changes and the red flags in our own children. Like, if you think something might be happening that's alarming to you, then yes, absolutely, you should cross those boundaries. But like, other than that, no, I don't think that we should just go through their shit, because kids still need the ability to work out their own life. Like, that's a skill they have to learn by doing it themselves, right?
Yeah.
You can't save them from everything. So if there isn't something that's a red flag or change in their personality where you're just like, oh my God, what happened to you?
Yeah,
like,
you see.
Then you need to mind your business to a certain extent.
Right.
You know, maybe start with conversations, but
if
you want to open your kid's phone, you're going to find out, right? What's that saying? You fuck around, you find out. You're going to find out. And some things are just better left not knowing, because they have their own rights to be the people that they want to be, and like, you don't need to know about how balls smell, you know what I'm saying? Just to bring it back around, right? Like, I don't need to know your intimate conversations between you and your friends. That's private. But if I'm like, okay,
there's something
all of my daughter's friends are cutting themselves and they're depressed and they hate their parents, maybe I'm going to be like, okay, why are you gravitating to these people? Right. What's going on in your life? So you have to use some discernment. I don't think that just in any day, any given situation, that you should be doing that. But if you feel, we know as parents, right?
You know, like, you know your kids, like,
attached.
Off,
whether it's cut or not, you know what's going on with your kids, that something's off. So yeah, then if you feel like something's off, I get it. Yeah. But I don't think you should just invade your kids' privacy. I've always let my kids close their door, lock their door, have their space. I've never been like, oh, doors need to be open. No, I need to know everything going on with you. No, it's not. I don't think that that's necessary. Yeah.
So honestly, you guys seem like some really cool moms. But mentally, I know you probably would back them up and be like, you know, this is what you want, this is what you want. But mentally, how would you feel if your daughter dated someone, like, personality-wise? How would you feel if your daughter dated someone like you dated at her age?
It wouldn't happen.
Oh, it wouldn't. Definitely.
I already know Alyssa would not stand for that shit. The only reason I did is because I didn't have the buildup that that Alyssa has. Like, I didn't have that support. I literally came from a mentally, emotionally, physically abusive mother why wouldn't I look for that? Like, that's what feels technically safe, right? That's the norm. So Alyssa would never in a million freaking years ever deal with what I dealt with as a kid.
Yeah.
Not in a million years. There's no way. There's not even a question.
No, it's not even, yeah.
It's not even a question.
So, how do you think moms of boys, or do you think, well, you guys have both, but do you think moms with only boys have it easier than moms with girls?
No, because it comes with all, like, challenges. Again, every child is different. It's going to come with a challenge.
Every challenge is different. And this is the thing. It's like, just because you have a boy, it doesn't mean that the woman that he might find attractive comes from a good family, a good upbringing, has a good head on her shoulders. One thing I've always told the boys, I'm like, please use protection, because sexually transmitted diseases, most of them are curable. Babies are forever, and crazy baby mama are forever. Like, you have to be careful, like, and with either child, male, female, whatever, it doesn't matter. They need to understand that, like, that's a life choice that you're making if you choose to move forward with somebody that you're going to have a child with. You're going to be connected to them for a long time, whether it be male or female. So there's a lot of women out there that don't have good guidance, as from their parents, and they're not balanced, and they don't have a good head on their shoulders. So I don't think that females are the only ones that have to worry about who they're dating. I think it goes both ways.
Awesome. Let's get into some legacy and generational wealth. Alrighty. So, as mothers of daughters in 2025, trying to raise these teens into loving, respectful, independent women, what kind of emotional, spiritual, or financial wealth are you trying to pass down?
I would say my biggest thing right now, and what resonates with me the most right now, is just follow your joy. If you're following your joy and you're doing what makes you happy most of the time, everything else is going to fall into place. And that's something that I've had to learn to trust for myself, that you will be supported if you're doing what makes you happy. And that old saying of, like, you'll never work a day in your life if you're doing what you love. So yeah, as far as generational wealth, like, do what makes you happy, be smart about your money, save where you can, cut back where you can. I don't know. I guess that's about it.
So do you have anything like that you want to set up or already in place as far as any financial or generational financial wealth or anything like that?
Yeah, I would say that it's still something that I need to definitely get into place as far as setting up the future. But basically, I restarted when I was like 43, 44. I restarted my whole life path. So this is something still that I'm also learning and navigating. And there's so many options out there. I don't really know what's best for me yet right now. That's something that it's every day. Yeah.
And it's okay to reset and restart as many times as you need, rather than be stuck in something you're not happy with. I don't know. And the fear,
Yeah, like, I would say when I get to a point where I'm ready and able to invest in my future, I'm going to talk to a financial advisor and let them tell me what to do, because I don't know enough about it, and I don't personally feel like I want to invest my time into trying to learn all the ins and outs of how money works. Like, that's not my job. I want to create, and I want to be like, here, tell me what to do with this.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think like life, there's a team, right? Your tribe, and that's okay. Yeah. So everything, somebody's gonna help, like not necessarily help, but you know what I mean, like have your back and like to help you along, or do this for you or do that for you and your family and your tribe. So
yeah, and the more people you know and talk to and build relationships with, the more you're gonna be referred to the right people.
Right.
Like there's somebody that I love dearly and I fully trust the person that she's trusting, because she's very smart, she's business savvy, she has money, she's investing constantly, and she has an advisor. So yeah, that's the advisor I'm gonna go with. That's when I can do that. Yeah.
Do you guys ever worry that your daughter won't fully understand or know how hard you had it and it won't appreciate what she has now?
No,
I'm never worried.
She's already like,
she sees
fully
it. She's
appreciative.
Yeah, already.
Yeah.
So have you guys had any moments where you actually sat down and shared any stories of how hard you have had it or anything like that?
Of course. Like I've talked about my childhood and even life now, you have these conversations with them. Matter of factly, again, like their age, adjusted to their age level. But you have these conversations. It's the truth. Like, why are we? Let's not hide the truth.
Let's not hide the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. With Alyssa, I think that as far as that goes, I mean, I haven't gone into deep details about what I've dealt with in life, with my parents, with my grandparents, with her father. She knows some pertinent information, but she doesn't need to know everything. Right. No, because some things you do have to shield your child from. They don't need to know all of it, and it shouldn't be used even like as a weapon. It should be used as a tool. Like, this is what I dealt with, and this is probably why, and hopefully you won't. And like however you have to spin it to them to give them that lesson. You can use it as a background, but don't put. I don't think that whatever you dealt with in life isn't their problem. It's not their shame.
Yeah.
They don't need to know everything.
Right.
In a sense. Yeah.
What do you want your daughter to know about building her own independence?
Try. I mean, I don't. I feel like she's already independent as it is. Like I'm like, so
girls
she's
are just built different,
And then with Shayo, she's the firstborn, so definitely built different. Like she's just that child that is very headstrong and so independent. So I don't really want to have anything else to teach her. Just guide her.
Yeah, I would say Alyssa is just really naturally independent. It's just something I learned about her very early on. I did not really need to be on top of her for anything. She always had good grades. She was proud for that. At one point, even like in elementary school, I think she was in like 5th or 6th grade, and she's like, "You're gonna come to teacher conference?" I'm like, "Why? So they could tell me how amazing you are?" She was like, "Yeah," just kind of messing with her. But every time I went to a teacher conference, they were like, "Your daughter's amazing. She's so smart. She's so kind." It was like the same old story. Oh my god, right? It's terrible.
Like you pat yourself on the back, right?
So, you guys are talking about how they are independent in their own personal lives and achieving their success. But do you guys feel the same way when it comes to independence within relationships too?
That is something with Alyssa that I've had to address a few times, where I felt like she was allowing whatever was going on in her relationship to dictate how she was feeling. And she's definitely gotten better. And that was something that when I did have to open up about my past traumas, you know, and they're learning how to be from watching us, you know, and as you grow, you want to see that growth in them too, if they're really like looking at you in that closely in that sense. So with Alyssa, when I would see her being more of a people pleaser, I had to call her out on it. I'm like, you need to not worry about that so much, you know. So that was something that I did have to talk to her about. And when I called her out on it, she was like, "You really think that about me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I can see it sometimes. You know, you're too worried about this, too worried about that." And so yeah, that is something that I do touch base with her about. That would be probably one of the only things that I have to kind of keep an eye on, because I think it's easy for people in general, but especially children, to misinterpret. Is like being kind and being a people pleaser.
Being kind and being nice.
You don't have to be a yes person. No. And I really don't think that she feels like she needs that for acceptance. But I think maybe possibly she does it, you know, keep the peace, because it's like easier than dealing with confrontation.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm big on telling my kids, like, those uncomfortable conversations are where you grow. So it's like, that's where you, like you said, you got to let them know, like, we're not, have those conversations. We're not, we don't want things to be coasting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the
brush under the rug.
Right. Well, really, right? The people you have these conversations with, like, if it goes well, they're meant to be in your life. If it's not, they're not meant to be in your life. I'm very big on that. So
yeah. Yes, definitely.
So as a pair of superhero moms already, how do you, what type of things do you consciously try to instill in your daughters to make sure that they can succeed in a world that still doesn't really have high expectations for women?
I mean, for me, I don't really give a crap about what the world
I don't either
thinks or feels about women's worth. As long as she's happy with who she is, that's literally all that matters to me.
No, for sure. I think a lot of times people get caught up in society standards of what their life should be like, and I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Like, are you happy? Whatever it is, you know, like, are you able to thrive and live your life? And
I'm such an outside of the box thinker that I'm just like, what works for one person isn't going to work for the next person, isn't going to work for the next person. And that goes with anything. That goes with mental health, physical health, spirituality, career, right? Like, it's not a cookie cutter answer to anything. It's not. To me, there is no real standard, because what works for you today might not work for you tomorrow, might not work for you in 3 months from now. So you have to constantly be changing and evolving and doing the things that you need to do to maintain your level of happiness and sanity in the moment.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So I don't care what society is doing. I've already been living outside the box of society for too long to care what society is doing. I have no problem going against the grain.
Yeah.
Because I don't necessarily agree with traditional BS that society agrees with. So I've already been used to fighting that battle. My kids have been seeing that for, 15 plus years. So, it's not abnormal for them. And I'm just really happy that it's not something I had to push on them. They just naturally gravitated to it. Like, my kids have never cared about the brand of clothes that they wear. what kind of car they drive, their haircut, like anything. Like they just always had their personal
style and who they are
and being true to that. And that's, to me, that's a fucking flex.
I know. So
I'm proud of that. So I don't really care about society. Not that I don't care about people, but I don't care about what the societal norms are.
Right.
Like
the restrictions they try to place on a lot of people get stuck in their head on.
We're so much bigger than that. So if you want to fall into that and that's what makes you happy, that's cool. But like, that's for my kids to choose.
What's one lesson you hope that your daughter teaches to her daughter one day?
Being independent, being strong, being, resilient in this world, and everything I've taught her and everything she's gonna learn.
Yeah.
So it's
exactly. I'm sure that there are gonna be things that we've never even thought of that they're
gonna
be passing along.
Yeah.
In another 20, well, maybe like 15 years from now, but
go with 20.
Yeah. She needs to match me. She can wait till she's 30.
Maybe.
Even better about that. Wait, so being a young mom, so I had Shiel at 21 and then Rainbow at 35. And I'm like, oh my God, being, I have kids through the years, right? But being an older mom, like I'm a lot calmer, I'm a lot more patient. So I feel like having a child older, it's definitely
it's different.
It's different.
Yeah, I had I had Dan at 21. And I had Javante at almost 37. So yeah, same thing, right? You're a different person year to year to year. Like that's what growth is. And if you stop growing, that's not life.
No, right.
feel like, right? So you're always growing, changing, and evolving. And if you're not, you should look into that. But I don't know. I feel like society, life, knowledge, like so much is being opened and changed and evolving. Like
it's gonna be so different.
It wasn't like this when we were kids.
Yeah, no.
It's like coming minute to minute to minute now. I love that actually. Bring it on.
Fast pace.
So is there anything that you guys want to say to any of the moms out there that may be listening or may catch this later, especially to any of those ones who kind of feel like they're having it rough, kind of failing?
You're never failing. I can't say that.
Well, I don't want to say failing, but feel like they're failing. Sorry.
If you're always trying to do your best, you're never failing. If you're always pushing to do better, you're not failing. When you give up, that's a different story.
Yeah.
You're failing then, you're giving up. But I think naturally most women want to do good. They want better, right? So just don't listen to all the chatter in your ear. Just keep doing what you think is right for your family. And that's how you're going to wind up with the best and happiest family, by just doing what you feel is right and not listening to what everyone else is telling you to do. Do what you think is right. Because I feel like when you just cop out and do what people tell you to do, that's the easy road. In a certain sense, it's the easy road as far as like not having to get the pushback, but in the end, I think it's going to be the harder road.
It makes sense.
Because I've had the judgments and all the things put on me from elder people in my family and stuff, and I'm just like, I don't really care what you think. I just don't. It doesn't matter because you're not living in my skin. My kids are not your kids. Yep. Like, you don't get to see the smile on their face every day. Like, my house is so joyous and peaceful and happy, and we have fun together, and like, there's no drama.
Right.
There's like literally no drama. I'm sorry, but I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
So when I was 21 and I would have older women looking at me like, you have a baby? But then they couldn't even keep their households together, and like, your kids hate you. So go F yourself. I don't care what you think about me. I just don't. I don't care.
Yeah. I just want my kids to make sure they're happy, like you said. Like, and even as moms, right? I think the question was geared towards moms, but like just taking care of themselves. You know, I think like a lot of times like moms get stuck in like, oh, my mom, I got to take care of my kids, and like we touched on this earlier, but taking care of yourself, you're going to be the best version of you to take care of them. And, you know, be in the world.
Yeah.
So let's say you have a chance to hop in that good old-fashioned DeLorean, and you can go back in time for a second. What kind of advice would you give your older teenage self before becoming a mom?
Travel.
Live a little more. I mean, we were older, like 21. I mean, we were 21, but you know, there's still so much more I could have done, right?
Yeah.
It would have been easier without having a child.
Yeah. But I think more so than that, and this is something that I've been talking to my kids about too. It's like, you know, when I was in the thick of it and I was having babies with the wrong person, and not that I regret it because I love my children, but like, be smart about who you choose to be your partner.
Oh yeah, it's
because
a business deal.
Who wants to wind up in divorce, right?
Yeah.
Or who wants to wind up with an estranged relationships within their family, right? Like the best thing for your children is to be with, you know, be a unit, right? That's the best thing. And I'm not going to say that is wrong. Like you should want to have that. But when you're young, you're not thinking about that shit.
You're just thinking about the moment.
Just like, oh my
God.
Life is amazing. Yeah. Right? So be smart about who you choose to be your partner. And you don't really know that usually when you're a child. Like, I'm sorry, but 21 is a child.
Oh, yeah. Should not have been having a baby.
I can't imagine any of my kids having kids right now, but I still think that they would do better than I did when I was their age. But yeah, just be smart about who you choose to procreate with, because that's gonna determine the life of for your future, for your children, for everything, you know.
Because even if you separate, you got to co-parent, and then you want to be able to have like hopefully you co-parent, right? And then you know you raise these kids together.
I mean, there's literally like almost every single day I have to have a conversation with my older kids when they're like, Dad, this, Dad, that. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm sorry. But if I didn't have my children with him, my children wouldn't be my children. But on the same hand, it's like you can't help but feel a little bit of guilt for that. Like,
you live and you learn.
I'm sorry, I fucked up. But you don't know when you're young.
No, you don't.
You're in love. Or
you're not thinking about that, right? Yeah.
You think you're in love, but I mean, when you're that young, for the most part, there's success stories, but for the most part, it's not. For the most part, it's not.
Well, all right. I want to give you guys a very big thank you. Thank you for spending some time with us, Miss Leonie and Jess.
He was reading something.
Yeah, sorry, I was reading something. I want to give you guys a big shout out. Thank you for coming through. Big love to Jessica and Leonie for dropping gems, sharing the real, and showing us what motherhood is like in 2025. This ain't just parenting. This is legacy work. This is wealth for generations. So if you laughed, learned, or nodded your head at least once, make sure you follow, share, and tap in next week, because we got a lot more stuff coming. Let me know. Let me get some real feedback on this episode, because I like the way this came out. I want to do this more often. I'm thinking about maybe making this like a monthly installment where we kind of do it almost as a forum style and just let people be real. So let me know. Hit me in the comments or the DMs. This was real. This was raw, and it was right on time. Even though I don't know exactly when it is, because I don't celebrate those kind of things. But Mother's Day is coming, I believe, right?
I think this month.
May.
Yeah.
Next week.
Somewhere around there.
Something.
Yeah. That's kind of part of the...
I think it's the second week of May on a Sunday.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So
I stopped celebrating holidays a while ago, so I don't know.
Yeah, but a lot of people out there, you know, they celebrate. And me just being me, I always like to give my respect, do my due diligence for the women out there. You guys are greatly appreciated. And I'll say it right now, as a man, y'all are needed more than we are.
No, I would not say that.
No.
As a woman,
if there was no women, there'd be no procreation.
If there was no men, there would be no procreation.
I mean, technically,
no, men have just as much of an influence on their children as women do.
For sure.
And that's why I say
choose
your partner correctly, because the children need their father just as much as they need their mother.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's more importance on a mother or a father. It's 100% equal. Like, it should be anyway.
Yeah.
I know that's not how it normally falls, but it is. Like, when people want to shame men for, oh, your man changes diapers, your man does laundry, your man that's not manly. Like, no, that is 100% manly. Because that's being a partner.
Yeah.
Like, oh gosh, this is a whole nother conversation.
I totally get it, because my dad was in my life and I love him so much. So
just as important as mothers. Like, there's no.
I don't know. I feel like it's
no. When Alyssa is like
45-55.
When Alyssa's like, I need me and Elijah, like, she looks at you as the base of what she wants to accept in her life as for a man in her life. Like, if I stayed with her dad and I wasn't with you, that's what she would be accepting.
Right.
This fucked up. Like, yeah.
No, it's true. It's true. Sons and daughters.
Men are so important, because you're also setting the tone of what a man thinks that they need to be in a relationship and what a woman will accept in a relationship. So it's not more importance on the mother. It's 50-50, just like it should be.
Yeah.
Or 100.
100. Yeah, I was about to say.
100.
Well, you can keep it 50-50, but I'm going to still try to do my best when I can to put women on a pedestal.
I mean, yeah,
I believe you guys deserve it.
Thank you. Cheers to that.
But that's going to wrap it up today. Thank you, guys. And special thanks to all the people who stayed in for the part 2 and caught the part 1. Make sure to hit up my social medias. You can get both of the episodes and any other past episodes. Wealth for Generations page on Facebook, our Desertland Kids on YouTube, and Wealth for Generations on the Instagram. You can hit up any of those. Check out this episode and my past episodes, because Wealth for Generations is all about building futures, not just financially, but emotionally and spiritually too. We ain't just raising kids, we're raising legacies, and most importantly, the next generation.
Yeah.
That part.
So, excuse me for a second. Hey.
I don't think.
Let's get a special round of applause for Miss Jessica being able to spend some time with us and hang out with us.
It's been a great Saturday.
Yes.
And then also, let's get a big round of applause for Miss Leonie for being able to spend some time with us and come and hang out with us. And then last but not least, we got one for you guys. All you guys out there, the supporters, listeners, followers, anybody that's going to share it, like it, all that jazz, please continue. Please continue. Continue to do so and tell your friends to join in. But on that note, don't mind the small gap in between this. On that note, peace.
Bye.
Happy Saturday. Girl,